Okay, I would like to call the Finance Committee meeting to order at 5:31 p.m. on April 13th, 2026.
I'd like to call the Capital Improvements Planning Committee meeting to order at 5:32 p.m.
I will call the Select Board meeting to order at 5:32 p.m.
Okay, I got an email today reminding us to talk into the mic, so we're going to work really hard to do that tonight. So, and I think CIPC, why don't you guys start? You're going to do minutes and
Yeah, we'll start off with the minutes. I think we have two meetings worth of minutes to. Has does anyone for CIPC have any questions or comments on the minutes that were submitted? All right, since we have one person attending remotely, we'll just do a roll call vote starting with Blake Gilmore. Or actually, sorry, we need a motion first. Motion to accept the minutes. Does anyone want to make that motion from CIPC?
Second.
Well, we need a first.
You didn't do the first?
All right. So Denise has made the motion.
Second.
All right. All those in favor, starting with Blake.
Aye.
Denise. Elaine.
Aye.
And Mark Brennan, aye. That motion carries. Next up, we have the capital improvements plan to present to the Finance Committee and to the Select Board. We have that being distributed right now. So while that's being passed out, just to kind of give everyone some background here, usually right around the end of the year, our town admins will solicit requests from department heads, chairs of committees for any kind of capital requests. We received approximately 10 of those. The CIPC met several times to kind of assess both the requests themselves and also the financial health of the town. This year was a pretty easy year. We have no money. So what we did was we talked about these requests with the folks who were submitting them and attempted to see if we could either push back some of the projects or find some sort of funding source for them. CIPC isn't charged necessarily with finding funding sources, but we did want to try and take a stab at that to make it easier for the Select Board and for the Finance Committee. So in the handout you all have, you'll see the prioritized requests on our 5-year plan. So like in other years, we've assigned priorities to these. We made a small amendment to the number 1 priority that is usually pre-approved or pre-funded projects. We have some things that require, some more urgent funding. I'll get to those in a second. And then priority 2, we have safety and health. Priority 3 is operational importance / preventing further damage. 4 is proactive priorities, and 5 is others. So this year we've got a shorter list. I'm just going to walk through each one of these real quick, and if anyone has any questions, we can talk about each one of these more in depth after we get through the quick overview. So the first thing that we have is the 1821 Meeting House. It's the clock tower project that's coming out of CPA funds. That's got a FY 2027 request for $136,000. We have a Public Works Freightliner that is normally $350,000. Our DPW superintendent was actually able to find one for $100,000 less. The only catch is we have to buy it in FY 2026, so that's why it's 2026 plan. We also have the police department FY 27 police cruiser. This was something that we pulled out of the operational budget and put into capital for this, hopefully this year only. So this was something that the Finance Committee and Select Board had discussed. The next is an ongoing project. We've talked about this for multiple years. We're a few years into this. This is the Deerfield Elementary DES flooring. And then the last thing is a library rooftop solar project that's also going to be coming out of FY26. So that's kind of the overview. You'll notice that there's totals for the FY26 and 27, and then the projections for fiscal years 28 through 31. And then the committee had, like I said, made a stab at priorities for these. So what do we have for questions?
What is the starting balance of capital stabilization and what is the ending balance after these recommendations?
I don't know if Holly or Christopher, if you could take that.
Yeah, I think I believe we were at 561,000 as a starting, and I can quickly look at where we'll be at. Yeah, and then an ending balance would be just under 130,000.
Yeah, and this is assuming that there's no, replenishment after the rooftop solar, I think, right?
Correct. Yeah. Yep.
And then I think, John, you had a question?
Yeah, the total row on the top part of the spreadsheet,
Mm-hmm.
if I add up the individual items for fiscal year 27, they don't agree to 339,186. I imagine there's some hidden rows there.
Yes. Sorry, there are some hidden rows that are here. Do we have the expanded spreadsheet? Yeah. So what I've shown here is I filtered out just the things that are going up for town meeting. If we go, oh, Christopher's got it. Okay. If you go to the other tab, Christopher, this will actually show the full capital schedule over the next 5 years. So those numbers do agree on this one, but
So those are the items, the hidden rows,
yeah, so there
The
are
items
two items.
but
Great.
not approved?
They are approved, kind of. So the two items that are not showing here are going to most likely be presented in the fall. So we're leaving it off of the annual town meeting. That'll be the South County Senior Center new building furniture, and then the mobile data terminals for the police department.
So there are only 2 projects then that are being deferred to special town meeting at this point? Yeah, okay, that's not that bad, I guess. I mean, how much of the, I'm sorry, I couldn't see it from over here. How much were the mobile data terminals? Okay.
Can we
And
get
for
a
those at home,
printout?
50,000.
Can we get a printout of that before this evening sometime? Is that
Yeah.
possible?
Yeah. Give me one moment.
Oh, I don't need to write this very minute.
Okay. Just at some point.
Yeah.
Have we had the discussion in here about the library solar and the rebates?
Yeah,
We have not. Do you want to tackle?
I was just about to mention that the Tilton Building Committee is meeting tomorrow to look at the bids that we received for putting solar on the better face of the addition. At least 2 of the bids are under all of the bids are under the 125 amount that we had in the initial request because we hadn't received bids back. We'll be selecting one of those bids. The highest is 111,000 and change, and the lowest is in the 67 range, but that one might have issues with it. And so we'll have this decision made by 5 o'clock tomorrow night, I believe, and we can share that with you. And the intent is that this will be the final piece that puts the library into the LEED certification, approval range, and that we will be looking to receive 100,000 rebate from the LEED certification process that will essentially return whatever money we are awarded back to the town.
Yep. And then it also keeps some of the electricity cost off the operational budget, shifts it over to capital,
Yeah,
and then we get
the
grant money.
the projections we have are on the high side about a little less than 10,000 a year in energy savings, and on the low side about 6,000 in energy savings per year.
Jim.
So who is the rebate coming from?
It's part of the MBLC program that, if you achieve a certain number of points that qualify you for LEED certification, and this is the lowest level of LEED certification, and then you get this 100,000 rebate.
Yeah, and it's referred to, I think, in MBLC's literature as the Green Library Incentive.
So, so what is the risk with the solar installation then, as far as not getting these rebates? Are you counting on them? Are we going to be fully qualified to get them back and maybe replenish capital?
I believe that the architect has started the process. Julie, if you remember differently, tell me. Started the process of applying for LEED certification, but he said that on his calculation, if we need 10, it's in the 8 range, and this would put us way over, so we should qualify. Yeah, that's my recollection.
Yeah, it was my understanding that it takes our ability to qualify from dubious to very solidly
Pretty much certain, yeah.
certain. Yeah.
Ask now then that if we do get those rebates, that we want to target replenishing capital stabilization?
Sure.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, I think the building committee's intention was to do that. And any money that's left over in the LEED certification would come back to the town in another form, whether that's, when we go out to fully bond this, or, or it will be spent on something that was not completed. But the first step would be to pay the town back for giving us the sort of float to get the solar panels installed.
So you're saying, I'm going to say what you said again, just to make sure I understood. If we get the 100,000 back, it could be used to make it so that we borrow less on the library loan?
Potentially. So this may not sound logical based on trends in alternate energy sources, but this project would still qualify for a 30% federal rebate. So if if it was 100,000, the actual cost would be 70,000. And since we're working it through the general contractor, they would add their 10% markup. So it would go back up to like 77,000. There would be 23,000 left over in this hypothetical. I'm just using 100,000, so it's easy. And then there would be a yearly sum that you would get for 10 years. So further reduce the thing, but I'm helping or hurting? I don't know. This is helping.
So I think what Margaret is saying is if I get $100,000 lead whatever,
Right.
I want to put that in capital stabilization. But there's an alternate option, which is I'm going to take that $100,000 and pay down the library debt by $100,000. And
I see what I didn't understand that that's what you were asking.
yeah.
I guess that would be a.
Can I, may I ask where the library donations are at? Have they hit their target?
No. At the last, I believe it was the last meeting, I was informed that there's been some expenses incurred in the course of fundraising, so that the amount that has been stated to be raised is not the amount that is actually on hand to hand over to the town, because there have been expenses incurred in fundraising. So I think, know the exact figure, but it is about 1.4 million, I think. That is here. I don't have the document, I don't think, on hand, but it is not a whole lot more than, it is not a large amount. More than has already been paid.
Yeah, I think it's north of $1 million. I think they were targeting 2, right?
That was the original statement made at the town meeting when this was voted, yes. But fundraising returns have been sort of asymptotic. You know, they sort of are converging on basically what we've got. That, you know, any additional donations tend to get smaller and smaller and smaller. They have not been able to line up any new large donors, and are instead working on making people who made large pledges cough up what they pledged.
Jim, if I remember correctly, what the library had been reporting before subtracting costs associated with fundraising was about 1.5. And I think there were at least $100,000, probably more, in the cost of paying someone to help organize fundraising.
That's correct. There was, yes, there have been fundraising consultants and such, and as well as, you know, things like printing and postage, because we did a mailing to all the townsfolk, which actually produced a pretty good return. There's sort of a sense of disappointment among the library trustees too, that, you know, we're not really able to squeeze any more out of the town.
So I want to bring it back to the capital plan. Yeah, I know that in addition to, you know, us being able to get this grant, there's still going to be the savings on the operational budget as well. So I do want to point that out. But yeah, do we have any other questions on the capital plan, or the things that, you know, we need to do before we get this you know, finalized on the warrant, so we can get this in front of people at town meeting?
Can we talk about the 40,000 other that's in the FY26 source? What is that? Is that the building?
Yeah, so
the stale,
basically,
whatever.
correct, yeah, so.
The shed, I think, right?
Yep, this spring we sold the Jewett Ave barn finally to Orifal, and the $50,000 from that. Initially, we thought it had to go to free cash, but actually it turns out it goes to a special Mass General Law established account for real estate proceeds, and that can be used immediately. So it doesn't need to be certified like free cash. And it can be used for, I believe, any project that the town could bond for. And so putting it towards the library solar was a logical next step there.
Any other questions, anybody? Do we need a motion or anything? We'll approve it as part when we go through the warrant articles.
Yeah, so I guess procedurally, this is mainly kind of a presentation to the select board, and then the select board and the finance committee, as part of the annual town meeting process, need to figure out how to raise and appropriate money for these projects.
Why are you all looking at me?
Well, mostly transfer from capital stabilization.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I think, you know, usually when we do this, it is part of a public hearing. So, if there's no other questions from anyone, I think we should take some questions from the public and go from there.
I know it's hard to see with the sun.
Does anyone from the public have any questions about the capital plan?
Doesn't sound like it.
Sometime, some year we'll.
I'll be a public comment
Sure.
question. So, again, just I guess circle back to this library solar, we're planning to pull that from capital stabilization, not general fund stabilization.
That was the recommendation. I think, yeah,
Wanna- I mean, if we're not,
either one of them would work, I think.
it would. I just wanted to make sure like we weren't holding off on some other capital that we could do, um, you know, instead. That was my only thought, is it would free up money for capital, but if we're gonna push stuff to the fall, doesn't really matter where it
We have
comes out.
more left in the capital stabilization fund than we have requests
Right.
left for the fall
Yeah.
anyway.
Okay.
I am like, that makes me really uncomfortable to go the general stabilization route because in my mind, general stabilization is like for emergencies.
Yeah.
And if you go in, dig into that, then we're sort of signaling to the world that
That you would.
we're in emergency, and I don't feel, I mean, we're
Right.
pretty tight, but.
Yeah. I was just trying to free up, knowing that it would come back. I mean, if it was going to pay down the library loan or something like that, I just wanted to have a fund that you could take from and immediately put back, as a wash
We can do
to
that
free up
too.
capital, but
Yeah.
if there isn't a need, then we don't need to worry about it. Everyone's comfortable with the flooring at DES for the cafeteria. I talked to Darius a bit about that, and he wouldn't be heartbroken, but he would really love to get it done. He understands, town's in a tough spot. And Chief's okay with a cruiser. We haven't talked to him, but I guess he is. So
As long as he gets his cruiser.
right,
Yeah,
it
it's
doesn't matter.
still getting it.
Where the money comes from.
Yep.
Go ahead, Jim.
I do have a question about the elementary school. It's flooring for the cafeteria. So how is it spread out over 3 years?
This year's phase is the cafeteria phase. It's spread out across, yeah,
Okay.
good
So
question.
it's flooring for other parts of the school as well.
Yeah.
Correct.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
And I guess just as a select board, as we're talking through this, we think it's a great idea for the Freightliner getting into this year to get that. Hopefully, they're still hanging on to it. And the Meeting House Clock Tower, we're excited about kind of moving that project forward and evaluating the floor strength and getting the tower squared up. So
So that includes repairs to the tower and the engineering evaluation of the floor
Right.
for the.
exactly, to
big
study the
sanctuary.
floor system.
Good.
Yep, I think that's right. That covers both of those, right? Did it include the painting of that as well? I can't remember if we had money.
I mean,
Sorry.
basically, it brings, it straightens the tower, fixes all of the moldings, et cetera, that have been deteriorated, prime, 2 coats of finish. And it does repairs to the shingles on the tower, roofing shingles, et cetera. So, and then it has a separate pocket of money for engineering on the sanctuary side of the building. In addition to engineering to design a floor system, I believe it looks at electrical and other needs.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Thank you. No other questions?
John has a question, right?
We look at the items for the special town meeting again. The one in the fall. How are those? I want to see how they're going to be funded. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and actually, to be clear, so mobile data terminals is normally a grant that Chief gets. So he's anticipating getting that, but he just wanted to kind of put it on our radar. And then I think the other one, would have to be capital stabilization at this point.
We also thought, I guess, talking through the capital, is that if all the stars align and we move over, that's when we would kind of look at it in the fall for furniture, and there may be savings from the rent kind of thing to offset that. So the number's kind of there right now, but could be less. So.
Yeah, so this would be, of course, if we do end up moving into the Sunderland location, and then there's going to be a ramp up period with that where the location won't be available and we won't be paying full rent. So we have it on here for the full amount, but we did discuss potentially taking that rent savings and paying partially out of that and then which would be out of the operational budget, and then taking the rest out of capital. So it could be 10 grand, 12 grand savings. We're not sure yet, but we have the placeholder in for the full amount.
And that's just the Deerfield portion of the full amount?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Beth, you have a question?
I have a question, but it's from before. I forgot what the meeting house is planning to be used for.
Yeah, it's my next question.
So you're asking a question. I don't think that we've ever made a full determination of what it's going to be used for, but the anticipated use would be a municipal meeting space, and it would then be available for rental to private citizens. It might be large enough for meetings. We could have meetings in that space if we're not able to house them in the new building. So planning board meetings could be held there, CIPC meetings could be held there. So I know that's a vague answer, but we've committed by steps, slow steps, to refurbishing the building. We've spent $300,000 on structural repairs to the roof. We've got the grant or the gift from Eagle Brook to fix the Fellowship Hall side of the building. And the next logical phase is to make the whole building usable for town purposes. Maybe we should set up a committee and decide what we want to do with it.
Can you
So
charge
one of the,
rent? Oh.
to go a little further with that, one of the things that was brought up was the fact that the 1888 building was used for several other organizations, the VFW, the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Women's Club. We think that as a community center would be available to those groups to bring them back into town, because I don't even know where they're meeting. So, I mean, it's one of those things that would centralize some of the groups that are working in Deerfield and give them a place to meet too.
And then also, as a source of funding, we are optimistic that there will be CPA funds left over from the 1888 building project. I'm hoping to see that a significant amount comes back, but we have to work with the USDA to make that happen. And we've had some discussions with them, and I would like to have another discussion with them. But anyway, so that money would go back into the CPA funds for use on historic preservation of that building as a funding source for future improvements.
And there might be organizations that could rent it, as far as, whole dance class or something in there, or all kinds of different items, I think.
So how far are you along with this plan? It sounds like it's very open-ended. We're spending $136,000 this year on the clock tower. Oh, I'm sorry. We're spending $136,000 this year on the clock tower. So are we getting close to an objective?
No, I mean, this is just my 2 cents, but I think the town has made it known that they wanted the boards to save the building. So I think really right now we're looking at less detrimental, happening to it, save the roof, save the steeple. We got the help from Eagle Brook to beef up Fellowship Hall, which helped out great with the library. But really it's kind of, what is the cost of the floor? And then I do think a meeting with the town building advisory committee to kind of look at, what should we do? What do we do with it? But there isn't really, we don't have anything solidly figured out, but more of a save the building kind of thing at the moment.
Yeah, and to further what Trevor said, there has been a commitment that we made the decision that we're going to save the building, and we've taken steps to do it, some of which was funded by grants. There were roof trusses that were in bad repair. They had to be repaired. I think the total cost of the repair was $300,000, some of which was covered by grants. Some of the project for the Fellowship Hall was also covered by a grant from Senator Comerford, secured a $100,000 grant for us that did pay for extensive part of that project, even though Eagle Brook committed quite a lot of money to it. And the engineering part of this CPA request is to find out what is the minimum amount of work that we need to do to make the sanctuary space usable. And so, you know, we don't know how much money it's going to cost, but we've already committed we paid for 300,000, 400,000 of work on the building based on the decision that was made, which was we want to save the building. So I don't know, maybe we should have made a decision about what it's going to be used for first.
Yeah. Who made the decision to save the building? I don't remember it going in front of the taxpayers.
We
it?
acquired
Yeah, it was at the town.
We acquired it to use as the South County Senior Center.
Say again?
The town meeting voted to acquire it for like $1 to use for the South County Senior Center.
Well, then it's not being used for the South County Senior Center, so no, I'm not saying what to do with it. I'm just thinking that decisions are being made that maybe ought to go to the taxpayers.
You've already started and you've already put money into this building, and the community room can be used now for some of these organizations and some of these things that are being done. And I think that's why the process was slowed down with the sanctuary, because of how tight money is right now. So I think that that's one of the things that we could get started on as far as opening it up as far as using the community room. And that setup is feasible and all set to go. So that's fine.
And to your point, John, everything that's been done there has been on a warrant and citizens have voted on it. So it's not like this hasn't been discussed. The actual purpose has morphed. At one point, the Eagle Brook project was supposed to provide a home for senior center office. There was no expression of interest in moving in. And at that exact juncture, when the library project was about to get underway, it made sense to take advantage of that space and put the library there temporarily. So in the best of all worlds, I guess it would have been great to have a specific use. Currently, that space that's been renovated is being used for public meetings. I think there have been some town meetings in there. The planner has used it to have forums, and so we have a vacant side that needs to be repaired, or maybe you could tear down the sanctuary, but all of these things have been voted on.
Fran, I think you have your hand up, or maybe you're stretching, not sure. And then I see you, Jim. Yeah.
I think that's just his mouse.
Oh, it's just your mouse.
Right.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
So does the town have a historic preservation status in the zoning or building codes, so that are there buildings which can be declared historic, or basically we either own it or sell it with no control over how it would be, what its fate would be?
Well, from my understanding in the past, when we looked at certain buildings like designated 1888 a historic building, you mean just in the town classification versus the state or federal?
Yes, or I don't know if it has either state or federal status, but if we wanted to preserve the building and didn't want to continue owning the building, is there a way to accomplish both of those goals?
Yeah, I mean, don't we have a historic overlay district that we're talking about right now, potentially? And then also, if we did want to, get rid of the property, we could put a restriction on it as well. But I thought that there was some talk at some point about North Main potentially having some sort of designation.
The Historic Commission has talked about various things over various periods of time about whether North Main should be considered as seeking a state or federal designation. I think it was federal. The interesting thing is that Old Main Street doesn't have that designation, and seems ripe for being more likely the place to start. And the CPA money that is spent on the building comes with the restriction. It has to be spent in such and such a way. If the town decided to dispose of the building, there would probably be a CPA requirement that says in perpetuity, this is a historic building, and it might limit the options. So
Anyone want to close the hearing?
Well, actually, yeah, I was going to say that if we don't have anything else capital related, we could probably close the hearing and move on.
Okay. Go for it.
Make a motion to close the public hearing for Capital Improvement Planning Committee.
I make a motion that we close the capital improvement meeting.
Hearing.
All right, cool. Yeah, that's yours then. Second. Yeah. Yep. We'll do a roll call vote, starting with Blake,
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Denise, Elaine,
Aye.
Mark Brennan, I. So the public hearing is closed. And then I guess for the select board.
We have one more thing
Oh,
to
do I?
do.
Oh.
Approve meeting minutes for current meeting by consent of the chair. I think you probably have to make a motion to do that, and then.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I just added that because we're not going to have another meeting again for a while. So we might want to allow you to review whatever minutes Elaine and I put together between those meetings.
Oh, yeah. Approved meeting minutes. Didn't we do minutes already?
We did the minutes.
So today.
It's basically just,
Oh.
yeah, to allow you to approve the minutes for this meeting, since we're not going to meet again probably until September. So
Okay. Yeah.
that
So,
makes sense.
what would the motion be for this then?
Oh, I usually try to write those things so you can just make it into a motion, but.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
maybe-
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I could make a motion to approve meeting minutes for the current meeting by consent of the chair. That's my consent. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Do we have them drafted or?
No. So the idea is just, we're just allowing, the CIPC would be voting to allow you to approve the minutes without bringing the minutes before the
Oh,
body
I
for
see.
approval, if that makes sense.
Okay. All right. So moved.
I'll give you a heads up on this one next time.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah.
Sorry,
I
Mark.
haven't done that one before. Yeah. So we've got a motion and a second. I'll go through, well, any debate or discussion on that? We closed the public hearing. Yep. So starting with a roll call vote, starting with Blake,
Aye.
Denise, Elaine,
Aye.
and Mark Brennan, I. Okay. So, the next thing I wanted to ask is, does the select board or the finance committee need to have CIPC here? Otherwise, we can close the CIPC meeting. I could speak on the committee's behalf. All right. So I'm going to make a motion to adjourn the CIPC meeting at 6:09 p.m.
Second.
All right. Any debate or discussion there? Roll call vote starting with Blake,
Aye.
Denise, Elaine,
Aye.
Mark Brennan, I. All right. We are closed or adjourned. Thank you.
So who made the original motion about the approving the minutes by consent of the chair?
Me.
You made that motion?
Yep. Blake seconded.
Okay, we're ready for approving the minutes for the finance committee from last week.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the Finance Committee meeting of last week. Last week means.
Second.
Hi. I would just like to make one comment, and just for clarification, I believe it was in the last paragraph of the minutes. When I read it, it seemed to me that the changes made to the assessor's office were a result of budgetary constraints. I just want to be clear that the changes that we made to the assessor's office were personnel issues and other issues and reasons why we reduced that budget. It wasn't necessarily for budget reasons. It certainly did help us out greatly, but that wasn't the sole impetus in order that we made those changes. I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay. What do y'all think? Does that need to be amended?
My suggestion would be just to add a notation that it is due to personnel changes.
Okay, I will move that we add a sentence after the word salaries in the second to last paragraph saying this is due to changes in personnel.
Second.
Any discussion on that amendment? All those in favor of the amendment? That's unanimous. Any other discussion of the minutes? All those in favor of moving the minutes as amended? That's unanimous. All right. So let's go, we have a couple of budget line items that have changed. So let's go through those. Let's start with 141, 5110, which is the assessor's admin salary.
So we previously approved it. Do we need to,
Right,
When
but
it-
there's a new number.
so we just approved the new number and that
Yeah, so we'll just
voids
make
the
a,
old one?
exactly.
I'll make a motion to approve assessors admin salary account 141-5110 for $87,780.
Second.
Same motion for the select board?
Second.
Any discussion? We talked about this a little bit last week. Do you want to give us remind us?
So the main changes here, well, the difference between last week's version and this week's version is all of the districts have now had their annual meetings, and some of the stipends changed very slightly. So this was reduced actually a little bit more due to a reduction in the South Deerfield Fire District's stipend to the assessor. And again, when this budget had originally been put together, we were anticipating a 3-month overlap during FY27, which we are no longer anticipating. If there is any overlap, it will be occurring in FY26.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor? That's unanimous.
All those in favor for the select board?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchi, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
All right, 145, 5110, treasurer collector, 145, 5110.
I move to recommend the sum of $154,243 for treasurer collector salaries, account number 145-5110.
Second.
This is a pretty small change.
And yeah, so the only change here was a change of $50, and again, it's in relation to the district's stipends that are received from the other entities. $50 increase.
He didn't have an old, he had an old. Okay, great, thank you. Yep, I got a current one, I think.
Any discussion? All those in favor? That's unanimous.
Oh, that's one different.
Did you guys move it?
I think we moved it.
I don't think you voted it.
Oh, okay. All those in favor, select board?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchi, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
Okay. And now we have general insurance, 196, 5400.
Okay, got it.
$196, 5400, general insurance.
6. Okay, got it.
I like the number we voted previously.
Yeah, you.
But I'll move it for the sake of discussion. I move to recommend the sum of 108,000 for general insurance, account number 196-5400.
Second.
So moved for the select board?
Second.
Discussion?
Please.
Okay, so Christopher and I had reviewed the insurance invoices for the current year, and we've received renewals for the coming year, and it was determined that we would likely be short. One of the main reasons for that is the 1821 building.
No.
The
St.
St.
James Church, because it's a vacant building, it requires its own separate policy. It's about $10,000. We had tried previously to see if there was some way to, classify it as storage or office space. Maya did not bite on that. So unfortunately, we are stuck with the vacant building designation at the moment.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. So with regard to the other building that's not, the other building we're working on, I'm sorry, I get them mixed up all the time. What portion of our insurance premium goes to that one?
I will have to check and get back to you. You're talking about 1821?
That must be-
Yeah. You mean the one that we were just talking about, the
The old
CPA
church.
request for? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I will make a note and get back to you on that one, Margaret.
I just want to state for the record that our general insurance is currently overspent this fiscal year, and we will likely be asking for a line item transfer at year end because it is overspent in this coming year. So we wanted to make sure that didn't happen again next year.
How'd it get overspent? Rate or coverage? Do you know? Can you isolate that? Did they go up on the rate unexpectedly, or?
I believe it's in relation to the vacant building coverage.
Yeah, I think it just got missed that it wasn't in the general insurance line to have that additional building that wasn't in our usual quote from Maya since it's a separate policy.
Any discussion? Go
One
ahead.
thing that I can think to ask at the moment is, do we expect that next year we won't have vacant building to pay this insurance toward?
Well, certainly we hope that's the case. I do think there's also, a question at some point for the town, do we want to keep insuring it? That's a policy decision. So that at some point
That's a question.
we make, yeah.
Go ahead, Mark.
Didn't we also just put this out to bid, this project out to bid? So we're probably closer to having this fall off the insurance, that policy next fiscal year.
Does this include the church and the rectory?
It does, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, there was an attempt early on that there is a backstory to it that I don't have the full story on, to get it classified as a storage building. For whatever reason, that didn't occur. And then once it became an open bit of information, Maya would not backtrack and then change the status. And I think you're asking about FY28, right?
Yeah,
But
so
we're approving FY27 now, which includes the insurance coverage, but the hope is that by FY28, there will be some resolution to this, and hopefully we won't be insuring the building that RFP dependent, so who knows?
yeah, I just saw that the RFP just went, another RFP just went out. So yeah, that's what I'm hoping. And then also, like, we are storing some stuff in there, technically. So I'm not sure if we can get ahead of that next year. Not sure if the things that we're storing will still be there in FY 2028, but I do know that we're storing stuff. So if we can catch it for that one, that would be good.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Oh, wait.
Sorry, there was
One more discussion. Go for it.
one. What does this do to our balanced budget? Was this included in the sheets you gave us last week?
Yes,
Okay.
this was one of the
Okay.
changes that we made last week at
Okay.
the time that we got everything balanced.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right. All those in favor now? That's unanimous.
All those in favor of select board?
Dick Gilmore, aye.
And LGI.
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
Okay, and the last one we haven't, I think the last one we haven't approved yet is snow and ice. There is no sheet on snow and ice. It's on this expense detail wrap-up thingy that's in section 11. on the last page. This guy.
This is 110,000. Are we still
Yeah.
sticking with 110?
Yes, so we are currently looking at $130,000 overage. We are hoping to find a $20,000 savings within the current FY26 budget that we can transfer to, but I don't think that we can come up with another 110 to do a transfer from. So the additional 110 would need to come from free cash for this FY26 overage of snow and ice.
Okay, I'll recommend that $110,000 be paid from free cash to the snow and ice overage for FY26.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Same motion for the select board?
Second.
Discussion?
Confused.
You look
Nice
like you have a
sunny
question
out.
coming.
Feels like nice and sunny, warm this week, no more snow.
No, I thought you said fiscal year 26.
Right.
But what? So
So
it's
you-
like we're approving a transfer.
We are basically, instead of raising and appropriating an additional 110,000 in FY27, we would cover it in FY26 using a transfer and free cash, so we do not have to raise taxes for it next year.
It's, it's every
Yeah.
year. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
We good? Any further discussion? All those in favor? That's unanimous.
All those in favor for select board?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Milchi, aye.
Carl McDaniel, aye.
All right, and just to sort of wrap up our paperwork, last week we got a clean copy of the town clerk's salaries because we had changed that while we were discussing. So 161, 5110 does not need to be voted again. It shows what we voted on March 16th. And then you'll remember when we voted the library, we shifted some library costs from the library line item to the town building maintenance line item. So the library 610 5400 and town building maintenance 192 5400. Those both reflect the changes that we made. So same deal there. That has been voted, doesn't need to be voted again. It just reflects what we agreed to.
Can we revisit town building?
Absolutely.
So that you said it
We
was
can
192?
revisit anything. 192 5400.
We have to have 186.80, is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think we voted.
What was the amount that we voted on?
186.
186 080.
Did we vote that?
We did.
So I don't have that in front of me, but
It was what we did when we made the motion for the library line item 610 5400.
Yep.
That was like a double whammy motion that
Right.
also it decreased the library and increased the building maintenance all in one motion.
so the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because we're in a year where we're cutting actual people, and on the Tilton Library budget 610-5400, they have a line item for added ideal extra help hours in the amount of $5,856.
It's down to like 4,000 now, but
Oh.
it's still in there. Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to revisit both town building maintenance, and then I think we also had another don't we have another budget for electricity?
Yes.
It's in here.
It's in
Oh,
the
it is.
same
It's
account.
in
Oh, it's in the
town
same
building
account,
maintenance.
yeah.
It says maintenance, but it's maintenance and utilities basically for town buildings.
What I would like to do is reduce the town building maintenance budget proportional to whatever.
Yeah.
What was that? 4,000 what?
740.
Yeah, so I would like to, I don't have a fresh sheet in front of me, but I would like to make a motion to, for the purposes of discussion, to reduce town building maintenance by 4,740 from, what is it, 186.80?
080. Yep.
And basically, reduce that and put a portion of that back into the Tilton Library budget, 6110-5400.
Do we have a second? Okay.
What are we doing before I make a motion? I'm confused.
So what?
Actually, I'm going to amend my motion. I'm not going to say putting it back into library. I'm just going to say reducing the town building maintenance account number 192-5400 from 186,080 to $4,740 less.
And why are we taking 4740 out of this budget?
The reason why I want to do this, well, actually, do we have a second?
Yes.
Yeah, you had a second.
Yeah,
Okay.
Beth seconded.
The reason why I want to do this is we're going around, and basically, making tough decisions in our budget this year. And we're facing layoffs in the schools. I think it sends the wrong signal to add additional hours in one department when we have to cut people from others. So what I would like to discuss is basically reducing this town building maintenance budget proportional to what we have in the Tilton Library for additional extra hours this year. So just wanted to get that on the. What's that?
With the intent to shift $4,740 of building maintenance from the building maintenance line item to the library line item.
Why wouldn't we just cut the library line item?
Because
We
the
can't cut the
library
library.
is at the minimum it can be to continue to participate in, what do you call it? The
Yeah, the
participating.
municipal appropriation requirement, the MAR.
How will that,
Yeah.
we cut it here, how does that affect their budget? We're adding it to their budget? Or we're?
Well, we're not adding. It's kind of complicated. It's a good question. We would be holding the Tilton Library's budget at the amount that we recommended the last time we met.
Back my number.
Believe it's 230,000.
23332.
230,232.
332.
No,
No,
232.
232, I'm sorry.
230,232.
Yeah.
So if I can try to state this, what we want to do is remove the hours for additional library employment and replace it with money that was pushed over. So take away the hours and put more money in for electrical. and
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah.
So it'll
building
come out to
maintenance.
the same number, but they just won't have any more employee hours.
Correct. We won't get in trouble with MBLC, and we're not adding hours to one department and laying off other people.
The day we did this, it was complicated.
Yes.
Figuring everything out. But at the very end of it, we ended up reducing, this line for the extra help by about $1,000. But then by the time we had finished kind of moving things in order to meet the needs, I think we talked about even revisiting because we weren't comfortable with that because we weren't increasing services in any of the departments. So this is revisiting this after all the dust has settled.
Exactly. Yep.
Yes. Go ahead, Jim.
I'm sorry, can we get a clear statement of the motion?
Yes, because I went to public school, I needed to make sure that I had the figure right. So I would like to make a new recommendation for the town building maintenance account 192-5400 in the amount of $181,340.
Wait, what was that amount? 430?
Yes. Great. This-
I have 181,340.
Oh, 340. That's right. I mentally transposed the digits. Sorry.
Same motion for the select board?
Second?
Now, this motion doesn't impose upon the library any obligation right now. You'd have to do that as a separate motion, I think.
I don't think we need to make a motion at all for the library. I think that they just need to figure out where they're going to come up with the money for the electricity. So they're going to have to put that back in their budget. I don't think that
Totally.
Well, my question on this is, are you removing that 4,740 from the library building maintenance line that has 21,870 in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
that would be my recommendation. I think the finance committee really can only make recommendations on the top line, not the individual budget items. So my motion is to make it a recommendation on the top line, or sorry, bottom line number, which is the overall amount on the town building maintenance. Since I do not want the bottom line number to change for the Tilton Library, because we will be in trouble with the MBLC if we do that, or whatever consortium they're part of. I want to keep the library number the same. Functionally, what that would mean is the library would need to probably reduce those extra hours and take on the town building maintenance portion that we're shifting.
We can only urge that. We can't require it.
Right. Well, the question I have is, because it's listed here as a payroll item, it would be allocated to payroll. Is there anything that we should do, or at least inform the library that the payroll lines have been reduced by $4,740? I just don't want them thinking that that money could still be used for payroll.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't know how to do that. Do you
it-
guys have advice on that?
Isn't this the
down,
blend
right?
of payroll and expenses?
It is payroll and expenses, and so, but what we want to do is put that maintenance back into the library.
And by when we shifted that money, it's like we kind of made it complicated, like for the.
Yeah,
for s-
we did.
Yes. Been worrying about this.
I think the part that complicates this the most is the Tilton Library account number is blended. It has blended expenses. If we had payroll and expenses like we do with other departments, this would be a lot easier to do.
Question for Holly. Do you have sub-accounts that you use for personnel or for payroll versus expenses? Bear with me one sec. I gotta double check here. Think it's. Oh. Is it one or is it more than one?
Did have.
Yeah.
So how does that work?
So their numbers-
For the select board, or is it town administrator oversight of the individual departments? Like, they get to decide.
Yeah, they get the.
Right.
All the other departments have separate salary versus expenses, and they don't get to wash back and forth unless they come for a transfer.
So they do have separate line items for different payrolls and different expenses. But it is a bottom line budget, like Julie said.
So what would your recommendation be to clarify to the library that this money has been now allocated to building expenses?
Well, she had a line in there before originally, right? Which was a dollar value from DPW requesting a much larger number than we have right here, right? That, and we shifted it out to the other things. So how do we?
Yeah, I think in the short term, happy to communicate to Candace that the finance committee voted to do this to that budget. And then longer term, probably we want to suggest having at least a payroll and an expense, budget to vote on separately for the finance committee. And I know there's a few departments where that's been scams. I think until recently we had a similar issue where payroll was embedded in expense. So it's just a conversation to have with Candace, and we're happy to do that.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing that up, because I was just going to ask if we could just look at all the departments and make sure that we separate them.
Does the library, would it be a problem to separate the library if there's this bottom line number, or can we combine them?
Right, you're at to have the MAR and the
Yeah.
whatever the other one is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a problem? Do you know, or?
Well, we probably, similar to scams, you're going to want to have another sheet that just kind of
Puts them
put them
together.
together. Yeah.
And I just wanted to ask a question about the description of this line item in the library budget. It says added ideal extra help hours. So is that a signal that they would like it, but they don't expect it? Or how are we treating that now?
No, so I think that what this was is the Tilton Library had actually put together 3 budgets. They had put together a status quo, no salary changes. They had put together ideal increases in salary, and then they had a even larger budget, which was their, like, in a perfect world, we would love to have XYZ more people. So this was the ideal number of hours that they wanted to increase. So it was kind of their middle of the road budget. That was my take on it.
I think Candace said that they had talked to other libraries who had built new libraries, and they found after what they thought they had budgeted for wasn't going to be enough. But this was just from hearing from other libraries.
And they don't really have the whole building hasn't been opened either.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't think.
And
they
who knows
have-
when that
Right.
it all
And I don't think
figures
they have a
out.
track record right now of what ideal is.
Exactly.
They're just
Yeah.
basing it on other experience at other places. So we revisit it next year and we'll have a better idea of what their needs are.
Yeah, actually, that's a good question, Tim, because I just realized that we also had increases in the circulation tech 1, and also in lab assistant or library assistant 3. So I'm not sure if that was a step increase or expanding hours, or if anyone recalls. In my motion, my intent was basically just to kind of keep the hours for each of these folks the same, and that still may be true. I'm just not sure if anyone here kind of recalls those 2 additional increases and what those were for.
No, and then there's a reduction, I think, in the
so, yeah.
head young adult as well. They reduced from 21 to 14.
If I remember, some of it came from adding about 15 minutes a day to the hours.
That was
for
last year.
closing up.
That was last
That
year.
was
we did
last year? Okay.
Yep. She, my memory is that the total number of hours is the same, but some went down and some went up.
Yes.
So if you look at you said it, head young adult line, that goes from 21,000 to 14,000. So that's fewer hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then the Lib Assist 3 goes from 3,000 to 6,000. So that's an increase.
Then in that case,
Yeah.
I'll stay with my original motion.
Do we all know what's been moved? Everybody's
I was
with
about
it?
to ask that.
Any-
All right, so what I have written down is that the town maintenance budget be reduced to 181,340 from the current level of 186,80, which happens to be the amount of the library's additional added ideal extra help hours. But
Can I make a friendly amendment and have it say, and $4,740 of building maintenance be transferred to the library line item 610-5400.
I'll second that amendment. Or I can just amend my motion, with that. I don't know procedurally which one we want to do.
Can I,
Or does that confuse things? Margaret's looking like that confuses things.
I agree. Yes, I agree with that. However,
I guess without changing the bottom line of the library.
the one, that's it. That's it.
Okay. I'll amend my amendment. Oh dear.
So you're moving an amendment that the reduction in the town building maintenance come specifically from Tilton Library maintenance?
No, I think I would say what he said, it comes down to 181.30,
Right.
340 and $4,740 of building maintenance be transferred to 610-5400 library without changing the bottom line value of the library budget. So the library budget overall stays at $230,232. But they will need to cover $4,740 worth of building maintenance.
I'll second that amendment.
Go for it, John.
On town building maintenance from the original amount we approved,
Mm-hmm.
which was 132,210. Two items, very large items, increased. One was the library building maintenance.
Yep.
That went up a lot. And the other one was electricity.
Yep.
Why was, we talked about library building maintenance. Why the increase in electricity? Because we haven't approved this budget yet.
It's the library's electricity.
It's a bigger
So
building with a lot of,
then-
it's a bigger building and it has a
Okay,
HVAC
then-
system which didn't used to exist.
Then my numbers approximately, the library budget went up $37,000 from the prior year. Whether it's, I'm, without discussing what the state wants. That's just dollars.
Or-
Approximately, I might be off $4,000 or $5,000, but.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of money and some of it's not being portrayed to the public when it comes to the town meeting. They're gonna look at library and say, oh, it went down $18,000.
So my intent, when I give my little spiel about the budget at town meeting, is to make that very clear. I hope I get the point across, but I'm gonna very clearly say that the library budget looks like it went down, but I haven't thought about exactly how to word it, but there are however many thousands of dollars in building maintenance, which is the increase to the electricity and the building maintenance. So the actual library budget has gone up by whatever percentage it is, and I will make sure my numbers are right.
and also to further confuse matters, say this was done so that future library would be able to be managed at a lower level, base
Yes.
level than what would happen if we put it all in there and then we had to raise budgets because we didn't do this.
Because of the state requirements, right?
Because
And
of the
it's
state
because of the state
requirements, yeah, the
requirements.
state forcing us into
Yeah,
this.
just
the
because we're
state-
spending on electricity, now they want it on everything.
No, I
because
understand.
budgets,
that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if
Cost.
the people at the
Yeah,
town meeting are
it's
gonna
gonna be
understand
challenging.
that.
Yeah,
I guess.
I agree with you, but I don't want the library budget line item to reflect the full
Right.
increase to the library, because then we'll be committed to that for the rest of
I
our
understand-
lives,
I
right?
understand that, yeah.
I know you do, but
I guess you can always make it happen by yelling out hold.
Because we think that we can get the electricity down.
some.
I mean, that's the
Some.
goal, is like to not pigeon us at that larger
Right.
amount
Right.
until we know for sure where our budget and our, that eventually, I think once it's flushed out, you could then slide it over,
I
but
wouldn't even slide it over because there's a tax on that, right?
What's that, a tax?
They require you to spend 19%, I forgot the,
Oh,
some
I see what you
percentage
mean.
of
On
your total
books.
budget on books. So you take your total budget and then you increase
Right.
it by some big
So
percent.
Your plan is to always keep electricity separate.
Well,
Is there a plan
I-
to do that?
Work it back in there. I don't
I
know.
would hope that we just keep stuffing the electricity into the library budget each year
Until
to
it
the
fills up.
increasing amount until it fills up. Yeah.
Yeah, and if the solar panel project is approved in the next year, next 12-month cycle after it actually comes online, we'll have a much better picture of what is the actual electrical usage. So
Right.
that would also help.
Yeah.
Why is the maintenance so high? It's a brand new building.
I think it's just, is it?
No, it's two line items, right? There's electricity and maintenance, and I
Just a large
don't
building?
honestly know the answer to that. I know elevator maintenance is very expensive. I think it's 3,000 to 5,000 a year just on elevator maintenance.
Does it-
For like inspections and stuff, it's
Is it
it's pretty pricey.
janitorial as well?
Sorry, are you
Or is
talking
that
about the,
separate?
the building and grounds maintenance
Yeah,
items? Yeah.
yeah.
So that was one, I know there was a discussion between Candace and Matthew, after looking at the various warranties for the building based on the project, the additional plantings and things, he said, well, it's actually closer to this number if you truly want to maintain all these things. So that was his opinion.
Okay.
It's a lot. Yeah, I'm not happy about it either. So.
Okay, as long as it's brought out at the town meeting, I'm happy.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to practice about how to word that.
Yeah, I know. I hear you.
All right, so we have a motion out there.
You have a motion to amend.
We have a motion. Thank you for reminding me that. We have a motion to amend. Any discussion on the amendment?
Yeah,
those in
can you
favor?
read, can
Yep.
we, what line items in the town building maintenance are gonna be amended again? Any? Never
It's,
mind.
Uh,
Forget it,
free
forget it.
up from the
I'll leave it up to you guys.
building maintenance 21,870. Well, we don't actually, that's the one it'll come out of, but it's not our.
Never
problem.
mind, move
And
on.
Holly's problem.
Forget my question.
Okay. Any discussion on the amendment? All those in favor of the amendment? Opposed?
I
Abstaining?
think I have a duty to oppose it.
Okay. All right.
Now, do we need to?
So now we haven't voted on the underlying, oh, you guys want
I
to
was
vote the
wondering,
amendment?
did we make a motion on the first motion? Okay, all right.
Okay. You're waiting for the
So,
street to resolve.
Should we do this now, or do we want to wait until they do whatever?
Yeah,
else
why
they
don't
do?
you wait until we have, I mean, we've amended our motion now, so you could now move the amended motion.
Right, well, that's what I was going to say. We should have our vote now, yeah, so.
So I'll make a motion to approve town building maintenance at, it's, what is, 192,500 at 181,340, correct?
Second,
Do you want to also say the babble about shifting 4740 over to the
No,
That's
library?
part of the amended.
It's
motion.
up to them to move it.
Okay,
That's part of our motion now.
that's part of our motion now.
It's been
Okay,
amended.
good.
Holly, will we get new sheets on these? Not tonight, no.
All right, so now we have a motion out there. Any questions or discussion of the motion
No.
as amended? All those in favor? That is unanimous.
All those in favor of select board?
Like Gilmore, aye.
an LGI.
I would like to revise my vote to abstain.
Okay,
Trevor McDaniel, aye. Thank you.
501.
Julie, since we're talking about account lines, budget lines, can I bring up another one just for discussion?
Yes, absolutely.
Conservation agent.
Okay. Do you know the number off the top of your head?
Yes, I do. It's 171,5110.
Okey doke.
So Holly sent us the change in fund balance reports. Thank you very much, Holly. And I see that the Wetlands Protection Fund currently has an ending balance of 13,145.29. it's my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, that the conservation agent has been working about 12 hours a week and it's been paid through the through the wetlands protection, through the Wetlands Protection Fund, correct? So what was proposed this year is that the position be rolled over fully to the budget. I'm wondering if we would want to take a look at reducing the hours that are on the budget and retain some flexibility for the Conservation Commission to fund the position specifically related to wetlands protection to be funded from the Wetlands Protection Fund. So in other words, I was thinking reducing the position to 14 hours a week. We've approved 18 hours a week. And if we reduced it to 14 hours a week, we would reduce the actual budget line by a little over $7,000. And for the work that the conservation agent does pertaining to wetlands, any extra hours there could be funded through the Wetlands Protection Fund. Is that, I know that it's not entirely sustainable because wetlands work has to be matched to the Wetlands Protection Act and everything. So with a balance of 13,000 left in there, is there a possibility that we could leave room for the position to have extra funding through that fund?
So I just want to point out that we do still have the remainder of this fiscal year. There will be another 5 payrolls at minimum. So that's probably an additional $4,000 that will need to come out of that to cover the payroll through June 30th. So that's going to reduce that even further. That is really not a question that I can answer. I don't know what they have those funds earmarked for. That would really be, I can't assume anything there. I completely understand what you're saying. That balance will be reduced more, and I think we would need to check in. I can't answer.
So do we have a motion?
No, I brought it up.
Oh, okay. I would like to make a motion for the purposes of discussion to recommend a new amount for the conservation agent, account 171-5110. Much in the same we talked about for the library in a year where we're potentially cutting people. I would like to go back down to 12 hours and recommend a new amount for this at $21,179.
Can you repeat that number?
21,179. Or actually, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Do we have a second?
I'll second. Second.
So when Pete Law came to talk to us, I don't remember if we forwarded this email or not, but he actually didn't realize that he was coming to make a formal presentation to the finance committee. He thought he was just coming to chat with a couple people about this. So he actually, after he left, said, I'd really like to come back and make my case for real. And we haven't done that. It's like, I don't disagree with you, right? I agree that, they had 12 hours last year and this is an increase in hours for a position and it certainly needs discussion. I kind of feel like we should give him the opportunity to come be part of that discussion. Do you guys good with that?
And I'd also like to say, as a former chair, that this was done as a pilot program, and I think we gave them the latitude to try this to see if it would help. But the wetlands protection money is used for like potential lawsuits, so
It's very specific in the act.
Yeah,
what it can be.
right. It would probably not be a good idea to deplete that fund by trying to fund this thing. So I agree too that Pete needs to come back.
Yeah, in my motion, I don't want to actually dip into that at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of this is very persuasive, but we're still cutting people this year, so, you know.
Oh, no, no, I like
Yeah.
your motion better
Yeah.
than saying, and we're gonna also deplete the Wetlands Protection Fund. So Pete would be able to speak to this. He's the head of the committee, and that's his case to be made.
I'm fine with that. I do think it's appropriate to pay the conservation agent for wetlands work, but that's a question for Pete, and I'd really appreciate talking to him about that. Okay.
Okay, I move that we table this motion until we can meet with Mr. Law.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor? That's unanimous. Okay.
So would you like me to try to see if he can come in next Monday?
So
Okay.
we need to figure this out. Next Monday is Patriots Day, so we're not meeting. I actually am feeling the need to have one more finance committee meeting because we have a lot of articles to go through on the warrant. And I'm worried about not getting through them.
Can we meet it all this week instead of going to Monday?
So it wouldn't be on Monday. It wouldn't be next Monday. It's not going to be on the holiday.
Gotcha.
So it would be one day this week or one day next week. That's,
I would just note the select board does not have a meeting Wednesday of next week. So if you're looking for days next week that you could add a meeting, that's often open.
and you guys thought you got a day off.
I can do that day.
I think that
The 22nd.
Correct, yep.
I don't know where it's supposed to be held, but there is an Elm Street public information session that day from 4 to 6 p.m. So I would prefer to do it this week, but that's just me.
okay.
We start at 6?
It,
Oh, yeah.
it would have to be,
Wasn't saying Wednesday.
it would have to be Thursday, yeah.
So I can't really do Thursdays.
Thursday is the personnel board's meeting.
Correct, yep. Yeah,
Could we maybe start at 6 next Wednesday?
Next being the 22nd.
Yep, 6 p.m. Eastern.
We'll start late so that
It works for me. It makes a long day for you guys. But
it's good for me.
every day is a long day for you.
Yeah.
All good.
Okay. Wednesday, the 22nd, 6 p.m.
Is it good for our administrative team?
Yeah, exactly.
well, I suggested it, so.
It's all your fault.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine.
So Monday, the 20th, there is no finance.
Monday, the 20th, there is no meeting because it's President's Day, right?
Patriots, yep.
Patriots Day. Sorry. Something starts with a P. I don't have my glasses on. 6 p.m.
Do we need a motion?
No,
No.
nah, we don't. Okay,
So the 22nd.
the 22nd. So we will try and see if Pete is available either the 22nd or the following Monday, whatever that is, 27th. And try and get him here and we'll revisit. Are there any other line items in the budget that anybody wants to revisit?
Other items, other than line items?
Not yet. Hang on. We have some other stuff on the agenda and then we'll get those. Everybody's adjusting their calendars. Any other budget line items that anybody wants to relook at?
Yeah, I guess, sort of. The senior center's budget is based on moving to Sunderland. Well, not the budget. I don't know if this should be part of line item or not. I think this finance committee never really voted to what site we think it should go to. And I kind of feel that we should vote that. I don't know if it's appropriate right now with your question. You want to budget line items. I think as a committee, we should vote what we feel is best for the senior center.
You're going to have two different warrant articles. One is with the status quo budget and the other one was to override and move to Sunderland.
Right, what about moving to here? I
It's
know,
not-
that's
it's
my
not-
point.
Yeah,
It's,
But I,
that's beyond the charter of finance committee. Like our job is to review the budgets that are put in front of us
okay,
and either approve or disapprove them. I'm open to discussion. Anybody else have an opinion? I kind of feel like it's not our business to tell them that we think they should be in this building. I think they propose a budget and we approve it or disapprove it, kind of. But I've been wrong before, so go ahead,
okay,
Jim.
well,
I was looking through the budget, looking for things to trim, and there was one, this is trivial, but I don't know if we want to discuss it. The cemeteries line in the general highway expense increased. I forget how much, but could we potentially reduce the increase?
So,
Well, go ahead.
Oh,
I was going to speak to it as well.
yeah,
Do not want to.
yeah, I was just going to mention, so I think a lot of that reflects the fact that Matthew has gone out and gotten software to essentially keep track of our cemetery plots. So previously, yeah, it's really vital. Well, or what's the opposite of vital? Because we're talking about cemeteries, but currently, the way we keep track of it is we have a bunch of very old maps of all the plots, and every time somebody applies to have someone buried in one of those plots, we have to kind of manually update it yeah, with a Sharpie. It's
And a
not a
shovel.
great system, and it creates some risk. So the fact that Matthew went out and found this company that'll actually map all of our cemeteries, identify what plots are,
Okay, so you consider that
it's a good cause for sure.
Now, is that going to be an ongoing, or is that going to be like a 1-year thing, one and done?
I think there's an initial build out cost this year, and then it will be a recurring operating item. But
Because it went from 1,500 to 4,500. Is it going to stay at 4,500, or is it going to go back down to, I don't know, 3,000?
I would want to double check with
I was
Matthew.
thinking about like pulling it back.
Yeah.
Why couldn't the initial cost have been covered by CPA for the cemetery mapping?
Yeah, I think we talked about that. We talked about CPA and a couple different grant sources. I'm not sure if we just got it so low that it felt like it was going to not really be worth CPA's time, but yeah, I can check back on that. We did have that discussion though.
Is it SaaS software? If it's SaaS, it's going to have to come out of the operational budget.
Yeah, it's the program, the company you went with is called Semify. So I don't know.
Are you talking about like software as a service?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the SAS Institute.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is subscription based, so it's going to have to come out of the operational budget.
Yeah, I think Margaret's point is just that sometimes there's a separate build out cost, and you can usually charge that to a capital account, CPA, for example.
Yeah. Actually, to that end, it looks like there is a one-time setup cost in the range of 1,000 to 1,500 per acre, so that probably could be offset with something else.
Too late now for CPA, right?
It is, yeah.
Well, by something else. Sorry.
Oh, something.
By something else, I mean that could be capital. It could be something, some other account potentially.
I mean, you could also just accept that it's 1,500 more this year, and then next year it's going to go down 1,500. It's
I was looking at the
Yeah.
per acre cost.
the per
Yeah.
acre, yeah.
I don't know how many
Well,
acres we have. But
Yeah, I don't think we have all that many. Most of our cemeteries are quite small, but I'd have to check.
Also, this is something else. This is more a question. Are we now getting revenue from the electric vehicle chargers to offset the electricity expense?
Yeah, so specifically with the Leary lot, for example, the level 2 chargers really don't pay for themselves, but the level 3s actually subsidize those level 2s because the rates are set properly and they do get a lot of use. It's a challenge we're kind of aware of. The level 2 chargers just don't get used as much. They're really kind of set up for employees of businesses to use them, given the amount of time spent charging, and that hasn't clicked just yet. Yeah.
But the library level 2 chargers are higher speed level 2 chargers, and they're actually like 44 to 45 miles range per hour, as opposed to 22, which is what we have out in many locations through town.
Double.
What about the ones right?
Yeah, here, here, and
Seems
And
like
the-
there's very rarely somebody plugged into those,
yeah.
but whatever.
Well,
Okay, so
gas
we
prices
have
are way up.
two items on the agenda for the select board to place Prop 2.5 overrides on the ballot. Do you guys want to
Oh,
go ahead
yeah,
and
we
take
can-
care of those?
we'll
And
take
then
those
we'll
motions.
talk in general about Prop 2.5.
Sure. So I'll move that the select board place the following question on the ballot for annual town election to be held Tuesday, May 19th, 2026. Quote, shall the town of Deerfield be allowed to assess an additional $103,253 in real estate and personal property taxes for the South County Senior Center operating budget for the purpose of funding proposed renovations to and the lease of 112 Amherst Road in Sunderland, Massachusetts for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2026, end quote. May I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
I agree with Margaret's sentiment that we should let the citizens vote on this question. And it seems logical to give them the option to do an override to fund this particular effort.
I agree with both of you. This has got to be put before the people so that they can make the decision on this.
All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchi, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. And then secondly, I move that,
You take a question on that?
oh, sure I can.
At the meeting,
Meeting. Which meeting?
the town meeting, when they're gonna vote on the
Oh,
override.
yes, meeting coming
Um,
up. Yep.
You know, the option to me is you either go to the Sunland property or you stay where you are,
Correct.
right?
112, yes,
But
exactly.
That's not helping the senior center out, going to a new place. Can't
It's
we?
not helping the senior center to go to
Well,
a new place?
the-
Why not?
Suppose a lot of people say, no, Sunderland's too expensive.
Correct.
And maybe they might, I'm not saying, I'm not proposing that this is better than Sunderland, but,
Oh, it would be
Ma-
better than Sunderland. I
pardon?
mean, it would be better than 22 Amherst Road.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
But the override vote doesn't give that alternative.
Correct.
It's either where they are now or
Right.
120.
Well, I'm sure if we came here, there would need to be a debt exclusion vote to pay for the remodeling of this place. So that's down the road. That's next year's decision. If 112 doesn't pass and we don't go anywhere, we're gonna have to come back and say, okay, well, 112 didn't work. We're still
we're gonna
at
have to- we're gonna have-
2 for now, for this year, because we're still in this.
Okay.
And then if we all decide, hey, this would be the next best option, and we think we'd all like to go here, I think there's some study to be done, some evaluation.
So we're gonna have to wait a year.
Yeah, because we're not ready.
We're not
Here.
ready anyway.
Right.
Okay.
We're not ready to
All right,
move, and we're not
thank
ready
you.
with a solid budget yet. But I think that's the next best option for sure. If it doesn't pass, then we should come look at this space as well.
I don't know, when they're deciding whether to say yes or no, maybe they should know about this as an alternative.
I'm sure
Well,
many people are going to step up and say, hey, Conway Street's an option in a year and a half. So I think they'll be well informed. There's going to be plenty of discussion.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also, before our town meeting, Sunderland will have voted on whether they're going to do an $800,000 override which includes money to move to Sunderland. And so it may be moot at that point.
Yeah.
And they don't have the option of saying that this is an option because to them, it's not in something that's been presented to them.
When the town votes on this, is this a majority or a 2/3 majority?
Majority. And then another majority for a ballot as well. So you'll have another ballot vote. So it could pass at town meeting like the sewer did and then fail at the ballot measure too. And then the next item is I move that the select board place on the following question on the ballot for annual town election to be held on Tuesday, May 19th, 2026. Quote, shall the town of Deerfield be allowed to assess an additional $400,000 in real estate and personal property taxes for the South County Emergency Medical Service assessment to the town of Deerfield for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2026? Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
You got somebody raising their hand back there.
Public comment. Would you mind coming up and using a mic? Because people online can't hear us at all if we're not talking to a mic. And we're trying really hard to be good.
And could you spell your name?
Sure. My name is John O'Neill, Johnoneil. Thank you. 2 years ago at town meeting, the new director of SCEMS said that he had a plan in place that he was working towards to get back to a flat line. And here we are 2 years later, we're not at flat line. And I understand how the math works. But I also, I like the fact that we are trying to say no, but how do we say no to more things? And how do we say no in general to SCEMS, which I'm positively astounded by the fact that 2 years ago we were told we were going to get back to a flat line, and I'd like to know what the plan is. And I was driving back from the office last week, and I listened, to the discussion that he had, and we have more spirited discussions on people under the age of 18 versus how do we get back to a flat line. And my property taxes are very high, and I have to start making a decision, as I think other townspeople do. Do we stay, or do we go somewhere else? Because it's becoming painfully obvious that I'm working really hard to pay property taxes to stay in the town of Deerfield, and things like SCEMS, the library. I have tried to figure out how our fire department, which is a volunteer fire department, budgets, and if you can find that money anywhere online. They never reduce the assessment here in South Deerfield. Where does that money go as property taxes go up? There's zero transparency, and the lemmings at town meeting just raise their hand and say aye or yes. And I think that, to your point earlier, these are difficult times. We need to make some difficult decisions. If the ambulance service can't get to a flat line and propose that plan, why are we doing a Prop 2.5 override? I'm opposed to that times 10. So I've stolen way too much time. I'm trying to learn the process here. That's why I'm attending. So thanks for your time.
I'm very grateful that you came and said your piece, and you're always welcome anytime. I'm sure there's a spot on a board somewhere soon for you. So generally, I'm not aware of, I don't recall the comment that we were going to get to a flat line. I'm not sure that.
It was totally implied.
Really?
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
when
must
we
have missed
got,
that.
so no, when we bought that interceptor thingy,
Yes.
the electric one,
Yeah.
there was definitely discussion along the lines of we are working towards, it may not have been flatline, but
Yeah.
it may have been reduced. We are working towards reducing, and having this vehicle is going to reduce our budget and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then,
The phrase "a profit center" was bandied about.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
that's
I mean,
that.
it was definitely sort of came up
Implied.
in
Okay.
yeah.
So, well, I'll just address this one article to start with, regardless of that. So really what we're doing here is we have, since the South County EMS began about 10 years ago, well, even before that, but for the last 10, since its inception, we have funded it with free cash, meaning like our portion of the bill each year we put in as free cash, and it's not a smart way to finance. So we have, we have done that for 10 years because we kind of wanted to see what amount it, I mean, I guess that was the collective decision of the boards to see, okay, what's this number going to be constantly? What are we going to get for retained earnings that we can put towards it? And we always seem to have to buy another ambulance, so it never really kind of gets to a flat line. The idea here is to move the money onto the budget and not try to fund it with free cash, because it's not the right thing to do as far as DOR. And really the idea is not to raise another 400,000 to pay for this. It's really just to get it on the books and not spend free cash on it. And the idea is that we would reduce how much we would have in free cash each year. Or that money would go to capital that we have never have enough money for. We always find, like this year, we have no money after kind of budgeting to be able to buy a truck or do any of those kinds of things. We have a few things, but we're looking to find out ways to pave the roads, these kind of things. So I think the idea is to kind of transfer that money into our budget and not be relying on free cash anymore. But there is I'm not sure how you get to a minimum, like a no pay for ambulance service, especially 24-hour paramedic service, but we should be able to do better,
Well, you can look at all of the budgets since the SCEMS was created, and there was never an anticipation that we were going to raise enough money from reimbursements from federal and state programs to pay for the entire service. And that's only been exacerbated by the fact that we are basically on a federal level and trickling down to the state, putting less money towards these kinds of programs, and the insurance companies are fighting for reimbursements for transports, et cetera. If you look back historically, the receipts have never exceeded 50% of the cost of delivering the service. So this $400,000 amount essentially is a reflection of the fact that structurally we've never considered this as part of the budget, and yet everyone thinks it's a primary public safety and healthcare service. So by bringing it into the budget, probably this was not the best year to do it, but maybe it truly reflects the cost of running the service. Between our 50% of the, I forget what the number is, I get confused with senior center and SCEMS. I think they might have a different percentage, but that would mean that the other towns, maybe they already have it in their budget, are paying 50% of that cost. And to Trevor's point, we have no idea whether we're going to have free cash on the level that we've had in the past. But if we move this into the budget, we know that we can pay for the portion of it that's not covered by insurance reimbursements and Medicare and Medicaid payments. Medicaid payments are really at risk. In my mind, it's imperative to do this because I want an ambulance to be there when I need one. But, this is the democracy in progress, and people get to vote on this.
Him first.
Are you guys taking public comment?
I guess we are. I'll take it. Yeah, of course. Yeah. I know it's like that, but thank you. Thank you.
Jeff Upton, Hillcrest Ave. I'm just wondering, are we using free cash and retained earnings, interchangeable terms? Or are we looking for, because we've been paying through retained earnings and some free cash over the years. So are we looking to use retained earnings plus an additional 400,000 on top of that?
No.
Okay, so I just need.
We spent the retained earnings on an ambulance in special town meeting in the fall. And so there's a very small amount of retained earnings left. So that it's just this year.
So I think that the plan expressed, or the latest plan expressed by the chief of SCEMS, is that their two frontline ambulances had 130 and 150,000 miles on them, and the money that's been set aside for a new ambulance that was ordered more than 2 years ago will be expended when it arrives, possibly July, possibly August of this year. But in the meantime, their frontline ambulances were breaking down, and the opportunity came up to buy a new ambulance for less $325,000, for less than what our custom-made ambulance that hasn't arrived for 2 years. So we made the decision and brought it to town meeting to approve buying one, and that's why this particular year jumps up. But the overall plan is to go every 3 years to use retained earnings, create a stabilization fund, capital stabilization fund within SCEMS that locks $150,000 or $200,000 a year in what we've been calling retained earnings, in a fund that funds infrastructure like ambulances, loaders, chest monitors, et cetera. And then the retained earnings should grow, and there should be an option to push that back to the communities. What was happening with retained earnings is there wasn't enough discipline for whatever reason, or a miscalculation was made and a lot of money was spent. So this will force a structure that will at least put the SCEMS onto a sustainable path in terms of replenishing and reinvesting in the physical infrastructure to deliver the service. Does that make sense?
So basically what you're saying is this is a one-time override request for the 400,000, and then in future
Permanent.
budget years,
It's permanent
it'll be
override.
structural the rest of the way.
Yeah.
We only have 300,000 cash, but we owe 450,000 SCEMS.
Oh, use your mic.
Right.
Sorry.
Blake has something, he's like you, Sherry. No, basically, it corrects the structural, and Margaret could probably explain this better than me. There's a structural problem because we don't fund in the budget the service that we rely on. And so by putting this money in going forward, the general budget will have, and correct me if I make any misstatements, it will have this money, and it will be used to not use free cash to subsidize SCEMS. But go ahead, Margaret.
Well, I'm not sure if this is what you were asking, Jeff, but it's a permanent increase in our taxes. So it's, yeah. So I'll let Margaret take over on the rest.
Well, I'm just going to repeat what I've said before. So the retained earnings, a portion of the retained earnings have been allocated among the member towns in the past, in addition to the free cash subsidy. So this year, because there are no retained earnings, as Julie explained, it is all falling on free cash. Free cash is considered a one-time revenue source because free cash is unpredictable. And this year, we are at the point of using a full 1/4 of this year's certified free cash just for SCEMS. And that is clearly not sustainable, especially if, for whatever reason, our free cash, our certified free cash goes down in future years. So hopefully that adds a little bit to this. But using free cash to subsidize any recurring operating expenses is a risk, and it does create a structural deficit.
Well, Blake, you're up.
So I think the thing that you have to look at is the amount of money that's coming in to retained earnings. The fact is that the ambulance, when they charge, does not get anywhere near what they're supposed to get when they send out the bills. And the problem is at the very end of it, then it's the private citizen that they have to try to get the money out of it. And they're not going to do that. So the thing is that if they have private insurance, they get the most money back. If you get into the federal, then it's the least amount of money that you get. If it's state, which is supplement to the feds, that actually gives you a little bit more. So it's a gradient that goes through from private to the feds, to the state, to the feds. And that's how it works. So they don't get back 100% of what they put into each call. They only get a percentage of it that comes back. And it could be 50%. And it depends on, again, the situation and how much is being used. You get 2 ambulances on one scene, and you get paramedics as opposed to EMTs. There's a lot of variables that go into this. And that's why you don't get that. You'll never get to flatline. I'm sorry, but it just won't happen. Several private ambulance companies have gone under because of this. And I've been involved in the ambulance service almost 40 years. I'm just letting you know that, again, they work on transports, which they get a lot more money for than the emergency response going up because they charge per mile. The town can't take an ambulance out of service and send it to Boston, or they could make more money.
He said yes to a lot. To say no to libraries that, or buying churches that were in the village, or older people that came in late of an RFP. At some point, we have to get back to fiscal responsibility because we just can't keep asking people to pay thousands and thousands of dollars in overrides. Again, and I don't want to complain, but Frontier Regional High School had $1,000 bogey last year to get lights in instead of giving it back to taxpayers. That infuriates. That's not their money, right? We need to be better. We just need to be better. We need to be better. And I precluded professionally from being part of your solution, but I really wish.
Because I was about to come ask you. Actually, can you, yeah,
You can take, this is helpful, your comments are.
this is great. Yeah.
Yeah, we welcome.
Are
it
you,
very
you're
much.
coming to town meeting, right? And you're going to say this at town meeting as well?
Good. Nah,
No,
you'll find a lot of support.
you are not alone.
I think, I would just like to say, I understand that for sure. We haven't had a Prop 2.5 override in 30-something years. We felt as a select board that it was important to be honest with the community, and that we cannot continue to pay for a top-line 24-hour medical ambulance response service with free cash. It's just not the right way to do it. Now, this does raise the money to fund this thing because we don't have a way to say that we're not going to spend it, but we can take for the next several years money that was going to go to, this just it really should be a swap of funds, right? But legally you're not allowed to do that. But so you have to raise it and put it into the budget, but it doesn't mean that will increase our free cash because we're not spending it on an ambulance service. But we could decide as a committee to reduce assessments with it, I assume, as we're doing now. We're doing it now. Assessments to scams.
Okay. I'm with you
Correct.
now. All right.
Just because
Change the assessments on that.
it shouldn't really be increasing the tax base, the retained earnings. Yes.
Not free cash. You wouldn't be using free cash to be the assessment, the skin retained earnings.
Gotcha. Well, what are we doing now?
Microphone.
Aren't we now? Oh, sorry. Yeah, you've got one there.
I'm sorry. I don't
Oh, I
want
need
to.
your help understanding because we're doing this now. We're funding the whole system with free cash. Every part of Deerfield's budget for SCEMS is all free cash.
Mhm.
So cannot, even though we're putting it in the budget, is there a way to kind of still reduce our assessments to the town using free cash? For the next few years? I just don't want it to.
No,
But-
no.
Okay.
If you pass the Prop 2.5 override, everybody's taxes are going up.
Yeah.
I mean, bottom line.
With respect to the retained earnings, the chief has requested or is going to request a capital stabilization fund.
Correct.
So my concern with that, I think it's an excellent idea to save for an ambulance. They're
Right.
very, very costly.
They are.
But at the same time, a portion of those retained earnings should be set aside to offset the town's assessments.
Correct.
Yeah. And the other thing is that I'm much more comfortable using free cash to pay for an ambulance than to pay for the,
Sure.
that's a capital thing.
Way better.
Right.
So I would rather have retained earnings be used maybe for some small amount of capital stabilization, but that should be used for Deerfield's portion.
All three towns, yeah, yeah.
I know we can't fully, but when it comes to like, buying the ambulances and stuff, if
That-
like to Julie's point, if we do this, our taxes are going up permanently. And I would like to take the money instead of just, raising the ceiling again and finding other places to spend money. I would love to take that free cash that we otherwise would have spent,
Right.
turn right back around and put it into capital.
Exactly.
So that way we don't have to increase taxes the maximum amount each year. I don't know if
Bingo.
with Ozempic, if we're going to be able to do that, over the next couple of years, we're probably
Right.
going to see GLP-1s continue to increase 20%. Our budget's 20, well, our spending on premiums 20%. But I don't want to turn around and start adding hours to random committees and stuff.
Correct.
I would like to take the money that we are going to, the breathing that we're going to have in the free cash and turn it right back around and pop it into the capital stabilization fund, so that way we can fund our ambulances out of that. And also, we do need to be way better at, socking money away for these ambulances, because we were in a position before, these two ambulance purchases, and it was good that we did it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
We were in position to get absolutely whacked with two ambulance, replacements, had we not done this. So
Right.
like, I hope we never have to do this again. And I know there's like amnesia, when we go from one group of, committees, finance, select board, from one year to the next. Like it's only a matter of time before everyone forgets all this. It'll be lost of time. But I really do hope that, we start putting more money aside in capital for SCEMS, so that way our
It has to.
taxpayers don't get murdered.
It has to be.
Okay, so here deal. Jim has his hand up. He's going to talk. Then we're going to stop talking about this. You guys are going to vote your thing because it's all going to come back. We're going to go through all the warrant articles. Okay, so Jim, go ahead.
Okay.
And then,
So I just wanted to clarify, when SCEMS needs a new ambulance right now, it's paid for essentially out of free cash because we are coming up with subsidizing them. If they do retained earnings as a stabilization fund, will that be enough for them to pay for ambulances in-house, so to speak? Or will the towns still need to kick in some of their free cash for new hardware?
I'm going to take 30 seconds to try and answer that, and then we'll do what Julie suggested. So if there are 400,000 in retained earnings at SCEMS every year, and 200,000 of that is put into a capital stabilization fund within SCEMS or within our own budget, there's 200,000 of retained earnings that could be returned to the towns to help offset the service. What has been happening, and two things happened. One, we bought an ambulance out of cycle because we never could get to establishing the purchasing cycle.
One-time thing, fine.
Yeah.
We'll-
So going
moving
forward, if we approve this, it will go in, it'll be built into our levy. Everybody here will have or whoever succeeds us will be responsible for applying that money correctly. But if the capital stabilization exists in SCEMS, then the money will be there for infrastructure. Or if it's done here, probably easier to keep it in SCEMS and make sure that it gets spent on SCEMS things and bring it into the general budget.
Yeah.
But the structural defect is this 400,000 that we're asking people to authorize. So 3 years from now, if you put 200,000 away, that's 600,000.
Well, that's what I was asking is,
Yeah.
that this increase for SCEMS will not need to be repeated in the foreseeable future.
No, we
That
won't
they
have
will
to
be
do
able to keep buying ambulance, so that the next time they need an ambulance, this will not be a problem. This will not happen again.
Yeah, if they can't figure it out after this, I don't know. We have to rethink the system.
We've run it this way for 10 years, and so I'm sure that we would never have to do, I mean, we should have done this day one, is put the amount of money, but the problem at that point is we did not know what we were going to get for reimbursements, what we were going to get. what the cost would, ambulance would be, how long the cycle would be. I mean, we planned one ambulance every 3 years to cycle them out. It's just you couldn't get an ambulance through COVID forever, and we still don't have it. And we got another one in between, and that just ate up all the retained earnings. So I think we'll be fine. We could continue on paying this for free cash and doing what we've been doing for 10 years, but it's not the right thing to do. We need to put it in the budget the right way and then have that money for capital so that when we come around like this year, we would be able to buy things correctly. One-time purchases for the maintenance that we need for maintaining our buildings, maintaining our streets, sidewalks, that kind of stuff. So, did I have a second on this? Okay, all those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilge, aye.
Bear McDaniel, aye. Right. Now
Okay.
your report.
The warrant this year has a lot of articles on it, so I think it's going to take us some time to get through it. There was an email that just came out that had the list of the warrant articles. Can you give us the 2-second summary of each one just to take us through what we're facing and
Yeah.
reviewing it?
Yeah, let me pull that up. Give me one moment.
If you sign up online for, I don't know, I signed up with the town for them to send me 1 million.
Jim, I
emails.
just sent you a
One of
copy of those motions.
I can find it and forward it to everybody.
Forward it? Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a list.
Yeah, and it's also on, I think, the news items on the website. So if you check it out there. So yeah, real quick, we have our usual batch of pro forma articles. Okay, the town report, elected official compensation, acknowledging all the gifts from the nonprofits, acceptance of grants, and giving the select board and the assessors 5-year contracting authority. So those are all things we do every year, essentially boilerplate. Free cash transfers, transferring 100,000 to the reserve fund, dealing with our OPEB liability trust fund, and then also vocational education. I would just note on that one, usually the week after school vacation, which is next week, we have some sense of how many Smith Folk students we're going to have. And so we get an idea of what that number should be. Other budget articles, we have our revolving fund cap, our snow and ice shortfall, which I think we just talked about being about 110,000 this year. The big one, omnibus budget. And then following that, we have the senior center override question that was just voted, and then the senior center 20-year lease authorization. So essentially the select board, it needs to be able to lease for a longer period of time than is allowed in MGL without further approval from town meeting. Moving on to enterprise funds, SCEMS enterprise fund will be voted as is, and then the override question is after that. And then after that, we have the establishment of the capital stabilization account for SCEMS, followed by the sewer enterprise fund. Other capital and community preservation act items, we have the FY26 capital improvement plan, which we just talked about, the FY27 capital plan that we just talked about, and then community preservation act recommendations, as well as the establishment of a proposed conservation fund.
So I sent everybody an email on that, right, with a bunch of background information. Yes. Julie Caswell is going to come on the 27th. So we'll talk about that on the 27th in case we have questions for her. Go ahead.
Great. And then just real quick, some other policies, projects, and bylaw updates. We have a placeholder for the Elm Street project, which is scheduled to go out to bid in May. A placeholder for the Stillwater Bridge project, which is scheduled to go out to bid at the end of this month. And then some updates to the Capital Improvement Planning Committee bylaw that we have. I think we've talked about it previously with finance. And then a couple items that were purely citizen petitions and are now backed by the select board, the zero emission vehicle policy and the Veterans and Seniors Property Tax Work-Off Program. And then we have a total of 8 citizen petitions, but I'll just read these 6. We have the Specialized Energy Code from prior meetings, an article to rescind the stretch energy code, a 2-year moratorium on defeated town meeting articles, an article on electronic vote tabulators, which I think we have seen previously, an article to establish a 5-member rather than 3-member select board, and to create a non-select board Board of Health chair. So currently the select board serves as the Board of Health as well, and the chair of the select board is the chair of the Board of Health. So this would change that. I would note those last 2 items require, I think, special legislation, so they can't just happen automatically. So they would essentially, these articles would just start a process. So that is the warrant in a nutshell.
We have a lot to talk about. Yeah.
And I would just note that I just thank Shelley and Darius and the whole school's building team over there, because they were very flexible about getting us the gym, because we realized we just probably are not going to be able to fit in that auditorium this year, given what's on tap.
Yeah. No, we're not taking any comments. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So,
Christopher, could I ask Christopher a question?
you go for it.
I just want to know if for some reason, because the moderator decides that we're running too late, are we required by law to continue the next night?
So our understanding is the moderator can continue to any time within a 2-week period. And what we've looked at is the following Monday, simply because our election is now Tuesday. So we have, the possibility of a week. So we reached out to the schools. Jim is available that following Monday, the 18th as well. So if we have to go there, we are prepared.
Okay. All right. That's it. We're meeting next Wednesday at, what are you pointing at?
6 p.m.
Oh, do you have a question?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. I'm done. I'm exhausted. I'm sorry. Is anybody else done? We are meeting we just picked the day, next Wednesday, 6 p.m. and then the following Monday. And I hope that we can get through all the warrant articles in that time.
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, hang on, John.
I would like to, I'm concerned about the highways. And I know we're in the budget. Is there any mention of what we're going to spend to get the roads back into the condition they should be? No, I just don't know. Is Matt planning on using Chapter 9? Will Chapter 90 money suffice? Is my question. And if it's not going to suffice, what are we going to do?
My 2 cents is that, yes, I know he has plans already for paving this year. And it has to suffice right now until we have money. Like, we just don't have any other money. Where else are you gonna,
I don't want to just raise taxes again. I'm not proposing that or
I
mentioning
think
it.
we've heard that's
the other
popular
route.
at the moment. Yeah.
So right now it's Chapter 90 money.
It
in
is
that
Chapter
bid.
90, yeah.
Okay.
And the state has been adding to it, so it is better than it has been, but it's never enough. But
Okay.
But I think we've got some good plans, and he's got the asset management plan for
Right.
the road. So I'm anxious to hear that. I think he's got
Yeah,
part of it,
me
but we
too.
haven't really heard a full report on it yet. So I think we'd all like to hear that soon.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right.
Anybody else have anything they want to talk about?
Motion to adjourn.
Jinx.
We have a second.
Second.
All those in favor? All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Second? All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchi, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. Thank you all very much. Enjoy the weathers.
Yeah, thank you.
So 427.
67.
We're going to meet 420.
I thought
give it a shot, but I don't have a legal background. It's more I'm thinking that I don't know if I can do it. I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I do a lot with public speaking, so it might be fun in that regard, but I talk to a few people, I think, really need to have, if you want to do it effectively, you need to have a good, like, lawyer background. And, sure. I think I'll do that.
Yeah.
But I look at Tom, like, there's, he did, yeah, he did.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. One of the things he's working on, he's already year. I was meeting, yeah.
Maybe if I get older, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Looking for something else.
Yeah. There were cool people there, like, do you know my favorite? I'm like, yes, I do.